Hi there! In this video, we will discuss the summary of the fourth chapter of Noli Me Tangere by Dr. Jose Rizal, titled Heretic and Filibuster. We will also study the important events, characters, settings, and lessons found in this chapter. Listen and watch carefully, as you will learn a lot from this historical work by Rizal. Let's begin. Ibarra walked along the road toward the plaza of Binondo. He noticed that nothing had changed in the area, even though he had been away from the Philippines for 7 years. Lieutenant Guevara spotted him, tapped him on the shoulder, and walked alongside the young man. Ibarra asked the lieutenant if he knew the reason behind his father's death. As they walked, the lieutenant recounted what had happened to Don Rafael Ibarra. According to the lieutenant, aside from being the wealthiest man in the province, Ibarra's father was naturally helpful. Because of this, many people loved him. However, despite Don Rafael's kindness, many were also envious of him. This included the friars, led by Padre Damaso. Just a few months before Ibarra left for Europe, Don Rafael and Padre Damaso had become hostile toward each other. Because of this, Don Rafael decided not to go to confession anymore. This further angered the priests. Around that time, there was a Spanish artilleryman who became the target of ridicule because of his ignorance. One day, the artilleryman was given a document. He pretended to read it, which made a group of children laugh at him. Enraged, the Spaniard chased the children. When he couldn't catch them, he threw his cane at them. He hit one child, and when the boy fell, the Spaniard kicked him. Don Rafael saw what the Spaniard did to the child and intervened. According to rumors, Don Rafael struck the Spaniard until his head hit a large rock. This caused the Spaniard to vomit blood and eventually die. The civil guards investigated the incident, and Don Rafael was arrested and imprisoned. His secret enemies also came forward. They accused Don Rafael of being a heretic and a subversive. He was also accused of land grabbing and other illegal means of gaining wealth. Other accusations against the poor Don Rafael included reading El Correo de Ultramar and other banned materials, hiding letters and pictures from an executed priest, befriending and sheltering bandits, and wearing a barong Tagalog. Only Lieutenant Guevara stood by Don Rafael. He pleaded with the lieutenant to find him a Spanish lawyer to help with his case. Don Rafael also fell ill while in prison and eventually passed away. Not a single relative or friend came to his aid. It was a pity because it was only after Don Rafael's death that he was proven innocent. Now, let's move on to the important events in this chapter. Crisostomo Ibarra walked around the plaza of Binondo and noticed that his hometown had not changed despite the long time he had been away. Lieutenant Guevara followed Ibarra and told him the truth about what happened to his father, Don Rafael Ibarra. Ibarra learned that Don Rafael had been accused of being a heretic and a subversive due to an incident involving a Spanish tax collector. Because of the influence of Don Rafael's enemies, especially the priests, a complicated trial led to his imprisonment and eventual death in jail. Despite all the accusations and the abandonment of his friends, only Lieutenant Guevara remained a loyal friend until Don Rafael's death. Important characters. Crisostomo Ibarra, the main character who recently returned from Europe. He walked around the plaza of Binondo and discovered the tragic fate of his father, Don Rafael Ibarra. He wondered why his father had suffered such a cruel fate. Lieutenant Guevara, a lieutenant of the civil guard who told Ibarra the truth about what happened to his father. He was the only friend and defender of Don Rafael despite all the accusations against him. Don Rafael Ibarra, the father of Crisostomo Ibarra, one of the wealthiest men in San Diego. He was known for being helpful and kind, but he was accused of being a heretic and a subversive. He was imprisoned and died in jail due to false accusations. Padre Damaso, a priest who harbored deep hatred for Don Rafael. He and other priests pushed for the accusations against Don Rafael, including being a heretic and a subversive. Spanish artilleryman, a Spaniard who caused Don Rafael's imprisonment. He attacked a child, and when Don Rafael intervened, the Spaniard died, leading to the accusations against Don Rafael. Let us now proceed to the setting of this chapter. The events in this chapter took place in Binondo. Here are some of the lessons, messages, or implications shown in this chapter. Envy and hatred can lead to deep resentment and evil, resulting in false accusations and injustice, as happened to Don Rafael. The excessive power of the church during colonial times was misused to oppress and destroy those they disliked, as experienced by Don Rafael. Despite all trials and suffering, true friendship, as shown by Lieutenant Guevara, remains steadfast in the face of challenges or temptations. Justice is often influenced by the powerful, leading to a lack of fairness for the innocent. Accusations of heresy and subversion became effective tools for priests who wanted to silence anyone opposing their power, causing great harm to innocent people like Don Rafael. And that concludes the 4th chapter of Noli Me Tangere, titled Heretic and Filibuster. What have you learned from this chapter? Share your answers in the comments. We also encourage you to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated with our future videos. Until next time, thank you for watching.